Hi year 8, so today I am going to do a quick video for you on how to draw the details within the bottle. Some of you might be confused, so I'm just going to break it down very quickly, and these are some of the tools that you can use to kind of construct the following details into your bottle as well. Now I've started off by just doing the cap, then I've got the bottleneck. Now I'm still working on the curve of the bottleneck, and that's fine. If you feel like you're still working on it, but that's fine. The middle shouldn't change, so you can go ahead and do the same thing I'm doing. So I'm going to start off by breaking down what I need to do for each one. I'm looking at my dog here, dog/wolf, whatever this is. And if I go ahead and draw a circle, I can then copy that circle in the same proportion where I think the circle is going to go in my drawing. So if I just draw little guidelines and go ahead and draw a circle, you can just go straight into a circle, that's fine as well. And you can draw out any lines that you don't want. Now with that, all I'm now going to do is start to draw the shapes as I see it. There's a little bit of space on top of the circle, and that's where the head is. Use a sharp pencil, but draw very lightly and sketch out. Try to keep your sketch as light as possible, and this will be very fun for you, because then you can start applying a little bit of pressure to add some shadows in between. Now this is not going to look perfect, but it is really fun to kind of get you in the guessing game of drawing what you see. So I'm going to draw that ear behind him as well. I'm just going to copy the shape as I see it, slowly sketch out what I see, but very faintly. Look how I'm drawing, sketching up very lightly, and there's no pressure. Just take your time to kind of sketch out what you see. And the shapes, try to keep it to basic shapes, and that way you just can't go wrong. I'm going to take some of those shapes as I see it, because I see easy lines and easy curves. If you make a mistake, just quickly rub out, use a sharp end to go back in, sharp pencil, and continue your drawing. Now if you're confused or you made a mistake, you want to add or extend or to rechange, just rub it out. It should be light enough, but make sure you go back in with a sharp pencil. And I'm just going to go ahead and follow the outline as I see it. And at this point, I'm not adding much detail at all. I'm not focusing on the fur of the wolf, dog, whatever this animal is. I think it's a wolf. I'm not adding much detail at all. I'm just keeping it to basic line. If my pencil pressure gets a bit dark, I will rub it out as I go, because I need to consistently keep it very light. And I'll show you why. It really helps to keep it light. And as I'm doing it, I've got a basic outline of the dog. I'm quite okay with that. Now what you can do, make sure you've got a very sharp rubber if you're going to use it. Try to use like a really sharp end rather than the round end, because then you'll remove most of your stuff as well. So I'm going to use the end of my pencil, just because it's so small, but I'm not rubbing it aggressively, just rubbing out some lines. Just going to rub out the circle, the initial circle that I had drawn, and remove it. And anything I remove from that, I'm just going to, with a sharp edge, I'm going to just place it back. Okay? And as I do, I'm just noting detail, because he has eye here. And I can also see that he's got another eye here. And the eye looks like these little marks. So I'm just going to replicate what I see. Now his ear's got some shadows and details as well, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of this detail. Now, I asked you not to shade into your drawing, that's fine, but add some detail here, just enough so that your your details look a little bit more clear. It will make your life a little bit easier. I'm not going to go over it with a dark line, but I will add some shadows where I see it, and just make some lines prominent if I notice they are prominent. For instance, his nose is nice and dark. It's got a little line here. I'm going to outline his ears, and I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm not going to overly complicate about adding too much detail or anything like that. And keep it nice and simple. Now, what's really fun, I can see some fur, some texture on him. I can go ahead and add that. Rub some marks out, some of those lines out, and go ahead and kind of add some textures. If you want to, you can do the same thing. And then you should eventually get some form of similarity between you and your reference image. Now, it's not looking the best, that's okay. If you haven't drawn for a while, it takes a while to kind of retrain yourself a bit into like where should you draw and stuff. But roughly, I'm okay with it. If I add more to this and add more detail or start rubbing things out, I will start to mess it up. But if you feel like, right, I'm going to give it a bit of rest, but then you go back in and you know exactly what you want to rub out to kind of correct, then go ahead and just kind of correct anything that you feel like needs correcting. The simpler you keep it, the easier it comes out, and the faster you kind of more or less get this, so it's quite fun. Okay, so I'm going to leave this for now. I'm okay with my my detail here. Now, to add the rest of the detail, I'm going to rub out the extra lines around so I can get a nice clear outline. And as I do that, just going to bear this in mind that I'm replicating the outline of the bottle that I want. So pay close attention to the curves. And look how I'm drawing really lightly to do that as well. Now as I do it, I can see there's a line here. I'm going to just kind of bubble it up a little bit and go ahead and draw that. I can see that there's text here. I'm not sure what that text actually says, but I will draw a grid for me to kind of bubble write that text in. Now the bottom here, I'm just going to go ahead and rub this line out and also rub this line out so I can extend the bottom here a little bit. So I need to extend it ever so slightly. I'm just going to extend it so there's enough space for my bottom to go ahead and add some detail as well. The bottom of this animal is way too extended, so I need to shrink it a bit, and it makes a difference by shrinking it, and you start to see some resemblance between your image and then the image that you're trying to draw as well. You can add some, I like to get myself distracted and start to add detail somewhere else, just because it takes my mind off it, and then when I have to go back in, I can focus a little bit better. So do that. I'm going to draw the details as I see it as well. And then with that, you've got Fenty Mans, and I want to count how many grids there are. Before I count it, I'm just going to go ahead and draw within the curve where I want my font to go, where I want all my lettering to go. Now as I do it, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to go ahead and grid off 9 sections. So to do this, I'm going to start off with 3 and then break 3 down. Quick division there. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and rechange the grids a little bit if I need to. This is if you really want some good accuracy in your work. It really helps to form and break it down. You won't always need this, but it does help. So now all I'm going to do with a sharper pencil, I'm just going to start off with my F. That way only the F, not the outline of the box, kind of shows. I'm going to do the E. Make sure your pencil is nice and sharp for this. I'm going to do the N. T. I is a bit easy. M. If you're not sure how to do it, practice a little bit. Just practice. It's all straight lines, believe it or not. Just practice, and when you work within a box, it is a lot easier to kind of manage. So you can try to do the same thing here. To make a mistake, use a sharp end of your rubber. Very carefully, with a few strokes, rub it out. Control A. And it'll hopefully curve the way you see the text curving as well, which is really good. And just like that, without really much effort, you've kind of replicated a little bit. Of course, you can work within the dimension and kind of get more accuracy within your work. But from afar, if I just zoom out a little bit and kind of bring it back to focus, that's not too bad. You can correct the shape a little bit if you need to. Make sure to rub out any extra lines. You don't want messy lines in between. Try to keep it nice and neat. If there's too many lines, rub it out using a sharp pencil. Go back in and kind of correct your shape as you go. I hope that helped, and I will see you next time.